And here we are once again. It's Friday night and time for Friday Night Tech Talk. Good evening, folks. Mobile Geezer here. It's Friday night and time my for phone Friday doing what it always Talk. Does. Okay. So, as has become the norm, it's just me on my own, and we'll see if Mike or Mark or anybody else joins later on. I did see that Will did like the posting on Facebook tonight, so who knows? Maybe that means by some miracle we'll get Will tonight. But as far as I know, I'm here on my own. And Eleanor's here. Glad to see you. So, yeah, I know you've got to work tomorrow. So, no Renge yet, but I'm sure he's getting ready to go to work. So I hope everybody's had a good week. Mine's been pretty good. It's the real thing. Well, kind of. It's cherry vanilla Coke. So we had a lot of rain this week, and now we've got kind of fall weather starting to set in. The high today and yesterday was about 75 or so. So my wonderful summer weather seems to be fading away, and people like Eleanor is enjoying the weather. Eleanor and I have gone on for years and years. I like Coke. She likes Pepsi. So that's where it is. Hey, Alan's in here. Glad to have you in, Alan. All right, so we've got a Jersey lock on this thing. I'm from Jersey, Eleanor's from Jersey, and Alan's from Jersey. All of us from Hudson County, New Jersey. So hopefully anybody else in here, you let me know that you're here. So we'll see who joins later, but I guess I'll get started with the stories for tonight. So I figured I'd start off with Microsoft since that was the big event for the week, even though I don't think I'm going to be getting anything, at least not for a while. So I'm going to share the screen. And there we go. Okay, let's see if I can make this a little bigger. I remember how to do this right. Let's see. There we go. Okay, so this is from Android Authority, and it's basically everything we saw at the 2021 Microsoft Surface event. It's moving around on me. It's by C. Scott Brown. There were, of course, new Surface laptops, but there was a whole lot more. So let me see if I can switch this to reader view so we get rid of some of the commercials. Okay. The past few months have been filled with news related to Microsoft's most popular product, Windows 11. While we are all very excited to give that a shot when it lands in October, we need some exceptional hardware to showcase it. That's where the 2021 Microsoft Surface event comes in. Let me change the view. That should be a little bit better. The company's September 22nd event saw the launch of multiple new products. While laptops and other Windows-based devices made up the bulk of the show, we also saw the company's newest Android device. Check out the roundup of everything Microsoft announced below. And I did watch the whole event live, and it was done pretty well, but I'm coming to the conclusion that all of these events are basically just hour and a half long commercials, more or less. But, you know, the event was okay, somewhat entertaining. So the big thing that everybody was waiting for was, of course, the Microsoft Surface Duo 2. Surface Duo 2 was probably the most anticipated product at the 2021 Microsoft Surface event. Landing as Microsoft's second ever Android-based product, it is under a ton of pressure to succeed. This is because last year's original Surface Duo was, by all accounts, a failure both critically and commercially. Can the sequel right the wrongs of its predecessor? Well, last year I still have my original Surface Duo, $1,400. That's what I laid out. This year's is $1,500. For now, I think I'm going to pass. Judging from what the Surface Duo offers, it could happen. First, Microsoft smartened up and put a triple lens camera on the back. That's a very good thing. The Surface Duo had no rear camera at all. It also upgraded the processors to the flagship Snapdragon 888 and brought in 5G connectivity. So all very good moves. There's the camera. Pretty big camera bump on the back. Another new hardware feature is the glance bar, which runs along the outside edge of the phone. It has a display that will show you basic info without needing to open the device, including time, battery life, notifications, etc. And that did look pretty cool, I have to say that, even though it's very, very thin. The real problem with the original Surface Duo, though, was its price. Microsoft didn't smarten up in this category, unfortunately. The Surface Duo's original $13.99 price tag went up by $100 to $14.99 for the Surface Duo. You'll be able to grab the Surface Duo 2 starting October 5th, but pre-orders are open now. And I know if you follow Scary If Literal, he has always been enamored of the Surface Duo. He's already pre-ordered his. So if you want good coverage on the Surface Duo, that's the guy to follow. That's Scary If Literal. He's up there. I'm in Chattanooga. He's up the road in Knoxville, about 80 miles up the road. Time will tell if Microsoft addressed the myriad software problems the original Duo faced. It's not a good sign that the Duo 2 ships with Android 11 and Microsoft isn't divulging when it will get Android 12. We'll also need to put those cameras to the test. Stay tuned for our Fury review, and which will be able to answer all those questions. Yeah, and that one camera that was on the original Surface Duo, it was never a good camera. They upgraded it, got a little better, but it never did get to the point of being a really decent camera. So moving on, Surface Pro 8. It's been around 2 years since we last saw a flagship Surface laptop tablet in the Microsoft Surface Pro 7. With that in mind, Surface fans have likely been hotly anticipating the follow-up, finally out this year as the Surface Pro 8. As expected, the Surface Pro 8 brings a larger display with small bezels. It also upgrades the display to a sweet 120 hertz panel. On the outside, the tablet has Thunderbolt ports for the first time, which power users will no doubt welcome. Of course, casual users might be disappointed to find that it has no USB-A ports. Better buy some dongles. Additionally, the new Surface Slim Pen 2 is landing along with the Surface Pro 8 and even has a little charging storage slot and a detachable keyboard. Microsoft touts the new higher accuracy usage of the Slim Pen 2. 30% of the WD 1 terabyte MyPassport portable SSD. Okay, more external hard drive. Let's see. Oh, this is just commercials. Okay. Surface Laptop Studio. We have good news and possibly bad news for those of you who love the line of Surface Book laptops. The good news is that Microsoft announced its newest flagship laptop at the Microsoft Surface event today, which is very much like a Surface Book 4. The possibly bad news is that the company completely revamped one of the integral figures of the laptop and gave it a new name, Surface Laptop Studio. That looked pretty good to me, and if I wanted to lay out that kind of money, I'd probably go for it, but I'm not going to. With the previous 3 generations of Surface Books, you've been able to detach the screen to use it as a tablet. With the Surface Laptop Studio, though, the screen is only partially detachable. Instead of popping off the keyboard chassis, it pulls forward so you can use it at various angles, even in flat configuration. However, it does not actually come all the way off. Assuming that hasn't turned you off, Microsoft put in all the expected upgrades. That includes a 120 hertz display, which should make all manners of tasks in any game you want extra nice. It also has a magnetic storage area for the Surface Pen. This is now Microsoft's most powerful laptop hardware you can get. The Microsoft Surface Book will set you back $1,600 in its most basic configuration. So if I were going to spend that kind of money, I'd skip the Surface, the Duo 2, and I would get this, but I'm not going to spend that kind of money on either. Surface Go 3. If a high-end device like the Surface Pro 8 is too rich for your blood, Microsoft has got you covered. The Surface Go 3 is the latest budget model in the Surface series. As usual, it features lower-end specs while borrowing the same tablet hybrid design of the Surface Pro 8. Not much has changed for the latest Surface Go, but Microsoft did bring in new Intel processors for a huge speed bump. It starts at a very reasonable $400, and you can grab one on October 5th, but pre-orders are open now. Other tidbits. Surface Pro X starting at $900. Slightly updated version of the original Pro X is available. Supports 64-bit emulation and comes with Windows 11 out of the box. Also comes in a Wi-Fi only model. No new hardware inside. Surface Slim Pen 2, which we've already mentioned that. Works well with the new display on the Surface Pro 8. Pro 8 keyboard even has a slot that charges, stores the accessory. Stylus goes for $130. Ocean Plastic Mouse. An environmentally friendly mouse made of 20% recycled ocean plastics costs $25. And the Surface Adaptive Kit, a set of various stickers and customization systems you can apply to Surface laptops to help the vision impaired as well as those with motor impairments. So that was the whole Surface event. If I have to admit, if I had unlimited money, I'd probably buy 2 or 3 of these devices, but I don't, and I probably won't be. If I end up getting anything down the road, it'll probably be the Duo 2. So that's what we saw at the Surface event. So let me stop the screen. Okay, let's see here. Hey, Rishi's in here, Alta Tech. How you doing? Doing fine. From one nerd to another. Another Hudson County, New Jersey guy. Okay. And Will is in here. Okay, Will, now we got South Jersey representing because everybody else was from Hudson County. That's good. Let's see. What did Will say up here? He's saying, I guess the Duo 2 shouldn't come out. He was never a fan of the Duo at all. I know that for a fact. So, and I was a big fan. I just don't want to spend $1,500. Nerds unite. Okay. Elbow cough. Okay, so that was the whole Surface event. And like I said, it was a pretty good event, but all these events are just becoming commercials. That's all. Well-done commercials, I'll admit. So moving on to the next article, and this is the one I would think most people here would be excited about and probably have been. So I'm going to bring it up. I'm going to share the screen. Okay. This is from Android Central. And this was just an opinion by Michael Hicks. So, Will, you're going to hear some insults to the iPhone. Nothing to do with me. I just thought it was an interesting article. If the Pixel 6 can't compete with the dullest dirt iPhone 13, Google will never win. Pixel sales have been dipping for years. Can the 6 Pro steal sales from an uninspired, unlucky iPhone? Wow. He's hard on the iPhone 13. I'm telling you that right now. All right, switch to reader view. Last week's Apple event was a bit of a snooze fest. On the one hand, the new iPad mini impressed even the most hardcore Android fans as a compact slate for consuming media. I thought the iPad mini looked awesome. On the other hand, the regular iPad underwhelmed with its still giant bezels and last-gen chip. The Apple Watch 7 had no major design or sensor updates and still has no release date. And there were no new laptops or M2, M1X chips to be found. Pardon me. But what really blew me away with its mediocrity was the iPhone 13. Wow, this is hard. As much as I enjoyed the cute knives out knockoff home video, the announcement didn't have any other standout moments. Instead, it simply moved us through all the requisite beats that every phone release trailer has. A brighter display than ever, longer battery life than ever before, faster than competing brands by a vague metric. The only major improvement, and there's a comment, this phone was mistaken for a 12S for a reason. This is an off year for Apple. The only major improvement is that the iPhone 13 Pro will get a 120 hertz LTPO display with variable refresh rate. The OnePlus 9 Pro and Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra already have that, but to be honest, Apple always lags behind other brands. Being only a year behind the competition is an improvement. Boy, that's hard. So let me refresh this reader view because sometimes it'll pull the other pictures back in again. Let's see. No, not that time. Okay. Aside from the smaller notch and the upgraded A15 Bionic chip, the iPhone 13 isn't a major update on the iPhone 12. Rather than provide concrete specs or benchmarks, which they usually don't, do they? Apple pushed the usual platitudes, then focused half of the event on its new camera lenses and video features. Its 12-megapixel cameras fall well short of most of the best Android phones, but its ProRes 4K videos could make the 13 a popular choice for YouTubers or TikTokers. Millions of Apple users are ripe for picking if Google can successfully woo them. The question is, will a vague spec sheet and uninspiring launch do anything to reduce sales? CNBC reported that 250 million iPhone users currently have phones 3 years or older. A huge loyal base of users may upgrade simply because of their aging hardware. And compared to the iPhone 10 or 10R, the iPhone 13 is a considerable improvement. I'm curious whether or not Android phones can peel away just a few million of those loyal users, specifically the Pixel 6 Pro, which seems the most likely phone to be able to go toe-to-toe with the iPhone 13 Pro. I've used iPhones pretty loyally for a decade before switching from iOS to Android, and I have a pretty good sense of what Apple users look for compared to Android fans. And the Pixel 6 could bridge the gap and bring over some adventurous iPhone users. iPhone owners seem to care more about updates than Android users do, that's for sure. First, the Pixel 6 will, according to credible rumors, get 5 years of software updates. Apple users may upgrade every few years, but they like having the option to keep a phone for much longer. And they're also used to prompt updates as soon as a new OS launches. That's true. Compared to other Android phones, which get 3 years of updates at most and often receive those updates the following calendar year. That is also very true. The Pixel 6 has the longevity and speedy stock updates that Apple fans take for granted. Then you have to consider the Pixel 6's design with its two-tone colors and eye-catching rear camera bump. Apple's hardware design history is full of striking, multicolored tech, and we saw how much that still applies to Apple fans by the response to its many-hued iMacs. The iPhone 13 has colorful backs too, but that's just a colorful icing on a bland vanilla cake. Man, he's hard. While Apple spun its wheels this year, Google went all out on a properly innovative flagship. The eye-catching playful colors also extend to Pixel 6's software. Android 12 and its new Material U design language instills color into every menu, button, and icon on your phone. Plus, its color extraction tool will automatically changes the color of your menus based on your current wallpaper. And while Android phones are all about customization, the Pixel 6 has a stock launcher with colorful tricks that Apple converts can enjoy without diving into settings. And I have 12 on my 4. Oh, I have 12 on my 4A, and it's pretty nice, but I hadn't turned it on for 2 weeks until today. So, but yes, everything he said about 12 is true, although it's buggy, and we're going to have an article about that coming up. On the same note, the Pixel 6 gives Apple users a stock app experience that they'll appreciate. Apple phones have some apps that you could uncharitably call bloatware, which is why many iPhone owners already rely on Google apps for their day-to-day lives. I guess that's true. Being able to use those same apps as default apps will make the transition to a new phone much more straightforward. Meanwhile, other Samsung or OnePlus flagships have their own app stores along with Google's, which I think will be too messy and complicated for iPhone users. I agree. Finally, you have the Pixel 6's rumored 50 megapixel primary camera. The iPhone 13 will undoubtedly win the battle for best video quality, but for people who take fewer videos and more photos, Google will be the more attractive option if it markets its Pixel 6 properly. And that is always the question. Will Google market the thing at all, really? Not only is its sensor more powerful, but Google's automatic AI improvements to photos will sound very appealing to iPhone users who want to take a quick, high-quality snapshots. Okay, Google needs to go for broke. We don't have iPhone pre-order sales numbers yet, but
Go for Broke is a 1951 movie directed by Robert Garage.
I didn't ask you anything. That was my Pixel 4a with 12 on it. Let's see. We don't have any iPhone pre-order sales numbers yet, but SCMP reports that Apple has already sold 2 million iPhone 13 units in China. That's pretty good. And iMore detailed the issues people faced when trying to pre-order Apple hardware. Was traffic so high that the company couldn't handle it? Meanwhile, Pixel sales have trended downwards in the past couple of years. We know that Google sold 7.2 million Pixels in 2019, with initial sales for the Pixel 4 lower than the Pixel 3 in its first 2 quarters. All very true. The Nike Asia reported last year that Google only planned to sell 800,000 Pixel 5 phones and about 2 million Pixel 4a and 5G handsets. So yeah, they keep going down. Google's mid-range flagship just haven't sold. In our tests, they've consistently outperformed their mid-range hardware thanks to Google's optimizations. But Android shoppers have gone for faster Samsung hardware or the cheaper Pixel A phones, which I do, instead. Except I may change my mind this year. In 2021, Google will release a proper flagship with a beautiful display, flashy software, powerful cameras, and a self-made Google Tensor chipset. If all goes well, it'll attract Android and Apple fans in equal measure, with the specs Android fans will appreciate and the intangibles that exacting Apple fans want in a phone experience. But that'll only happen if Google goes all out in its marketing campaign. I agree. Obsessive tech fans ate up Pixel 6 rumors and leaks for months, but it's unclear how much the general public cares about Pixels, except as a budget brand. Google needs to have its own Think Different commercial moment and push its flashy phone as the exciting alternative to Apple's boring-ass incremental phone upgrade. Wow. Will it happen? Google has a tendency to let its products speak for themselves, then kill them off when they languish without proper marketing. Very, very true. I can only hope Google realizes that if the Pixel 6 fails to make a mark against Apple's weakest phone since the iPhone 8, wow, it'll permanently mark the Pixel brand as a minor player in the smartphone arena. That is a hard-nosed opinion of the iPhone 13. So let me see who else came in here. Okay, Munchie. Good to see you, Munchie. Glad you're here, brother. iPhone users want Apple to tell them what to do, when to do it. That's probably true, Munchie. He's saying Material U is dope, but not sure if other OEMs will implement it. That's also true. Yeah, they've already got the billboards up. Yeah, that's when my phone started talking to me. And Brian is in here. Yo, Brian, glad to have you here, brother, as always. Okay, so I think all of you know I have the Pixel 4a. This is what I have in Android 12 beta on, and I have the Pixel 5a. And you all know I tend to buy the A's. I am leaning toward actually getting the Pixel 6 Pro. I knew I was skipping the iPhone 13 because I love my 12 Pro and don't have enough reason to spend the money to change it. But the Pixel 6 Pro has me pretty fascinated, so don't be surprised if I end up getting one. We'll see. Not 100% sure yet, so don't hold me to it. So I just wanted to get that out there because his opinion of the iPhone 13 wasn't high at all, and he really beat up on it. But we'll see if Pixel 6 can pull some people over. So let's see. Munchie saying trade in 4A for 6 Pro. And that's what I'm going to wait for. I want to see what I can trade in. I have the 4A. I have the 5A. I already traded my 3A. And which one did I trade that for? I traded my 3A for the 5A. And then I traded my OnePlus 7 Pro for the Flip. So I still have some phones I can trade. I don't want to get rid of my Pixel 4a, but if that's what it took for me to get the Pixel 6 Pro, I'll probably do that. But we'll see how it goes. Okay. Munchie saying rumor has it they will give good trade-ins. I hope so. Because I'm trading away some of my favorite, best older phones to get the newer phones, and obviously that trend will continue. But I have other phones I could trade, but I'm probably not going to get much for them. So we'll see what happens. So moving on. Another follow-up to the Apple Epic battle. I'm guessing most of you probably saw or were aware of this, but I wanted to get the story out there. So this is on CNET. Apple won't let Fortnite back in the App Store, says Epic Games CEO. Earlier this month, a judge mostly sided with Apple in its court battle with Epic Games, and that's true. Well, they did win a small victory, I thought. It appears Fortnite won't be headed back to iPhones and iPads anytime soon. Epic Games CEO Tim Sweeney said on Wednesday that Apple told the game maker that Fortnite won't be allowed on Apple devices until the court appeals process is final, which could take years. Late last night, Apple informed Epic that Fortnite will be blacklisted from the Apple ecosystem until the exhaustion of all court appeals, which could be as long as a 5-year process, wrote Sweeney in a tweet, along with an image of what appears to be a letter from Apple's lawyers. A year-long battle between Apple and Epic over how the App Store operates came to a head earlier this month when a federal judge issued a ruling that largely sided with the iPhone maker. The judge dismissed most of the claims against Apple, but she forced the company to allow developers to inform users of alternative ways to pay within apps. Epic filed a notice of appeal on September 12th. Yeah, so I thought that was some kind of victory for Epic, but that was the only one they got. And of course, that'll help everybody else too. The fight began back in August 2020 when Fortnite was kicked off both the App Store and the Google Play Store after attempting to bypass the 30% fee that Apple and Google charge developers. At the time, the popular Battle Royale game had been downloaded over 250 million times on iOS alone. On Wednesday, Sweeney also shared what appears to be an email sent to Phil Schiller the head of Apple's App Store on September 16th, asking to have Epic's Fortnite development account reactivated. And that was after, of course, paying the money that Apple said that they owed them, which they did. Epic will resubmit Fortnite to the App Store if you adhere to the plain language of the court order and allow apps to include buttons and external links that direct customers to other purchasing mechanisms without onerous terms or impediments to a good user experience, Sweeney wrote in the email. In response, Sweeney said that he was informed by Apple on Tuesday that Fortnite wouldn't be allowed in the Apple ecosystem until a court process was final. Apple didn't immediately respond to a request for comments. So, not going to see Fortnite on the App Store for quite a while, sounds like. So, in my Galaxy Watch 4, just for the heck of it, I tried some other bands. Right now, I'm trying out a white band on it. Let's see if I can get used to it, but I don't know, I kind of like it. So we'll see how that goes. Let's see. Okay, no new comments. Okay, let me get a quick swig of my Coke. Now, I don't know if you're still watching. It's the real thing. Okay, just had to get that in there. Okay, next one. This is more or less still about the Pixel. Share the screen. And there we go. This was on Android Authority again. Google Tensor versus Snapdragon 888. How the Pixel 6's chip is shaping up. Does Google's Pixel 6 processor have what it takes to take on the flagship tier Snapdragon 888 and Exynos 2100? Let me switch over to Reader View. Okay. The phone hasn't even launched yet, but the prospect of a Pixel 6 series powered by a custom Google Tensor SoC is already raising some big questions. Can the chip catch Apple? Will it really be using the latest and greatest technology around? Google could have bought more chipsets from longtime partner Qualcomm, or even purchased an Exynos model from its new friends at Samsung. But that wouldn't have been nearly as much fun. Let's see. And my screen just went by. Give me a second, folks. Okay, every once in a while I get this little glitch on my screens, and I seem to have been kicked out of StreamYard. No, I didn't. Let's see. Okay. So let's see if I can share screen again. Just back over here. Sorry about that, folks. Stop screen. And I want to share. Okay. Google could have bought chipsets from longtime partner Qualcomm, or even purchased an Exynos model from its new friends at Samsung, but that wouldn't have been nearly as much fun. Instead, the company has worked with Samsung to develop its own chipset using a combination of off-the-shelf components and a little of its in-house machine learning silicon. According to a robust report, the Pixel 6's Google Tensor SoC will look a bit different from other flagship chipsets on the market. Of course, we'll save benchmarking and any performance and battery verdicts for when we have the device in hand. But we already have plenty of information to dive into an on-paper comparison between the latest chipsets from Qualcomm and Samsung too while we're at it. How is the Google Tensor versus Snapdragon 88 chipset shaping up? Let's take an early look. Although next-gen SoCs from Qualcomm and Samsung aren't too far away, the Google Tensor chip is designed to compete with the current gen Qualcomm Snapdragon 8088 and the Samsung Exynos 2100 flagship chipsets. So we'll use these as the basis for our comparison. So here you can see CPU, Tensor, Snapdragon, Exynos. And of course, the big thing is that Google is using two Cortex X1s as opposed to most everybody else using one. And then everybody else on their flagships has the Cortex A78. Google is using the A76, which is older. So nobody's quite sure what, but I think he goes into why he thinks it is in some of this. Okay, GPU, ARM Mali G78, Adreno 660, ARM Mali G78. I think pretty much everything else is kind of the same, but those are the big differences. And of course, that 76, that A76 is the kind of outlier here. So you guys can see, and of course you have the notes in the comments, in the description, so you can just click on it and follow what I'm following. But pretty much it's pretty even, I think, except for that chip. As we'd expect, given the nature of their relationship, Google's Tensor SoC leans heavily on Samsung's technology found in its latest Exynos processor. According to the report, the modem and GPU setup are directly borrowed from the Exynos 2100, and the similarities extend down to similar AV1 media decoding hardware support. And I just saw that my project. Oh, Anthony's in here. Okay, didn't see you in here, Anthony, but glad you're here, brother. If GPU setup indeed matches Samsung's Exynos 2100, then the Pixel 6 will be a decent gaming phone too, albeit still a few frames behind the Snapdragon 88 graphics capabilities. Still, that will be a relief for those hoping for a proper flagship tier performance from the Pixel 6. However, we're anticipating that the chip's Tensor Processing Unit, TPU, will offer even more competitive machine learning and AI capabilities. The Google Tensor SoC appears to be competitive across CPU, GPU, modem, and other technologies. Google's 2+2+4 CPU setup is a more odd design choice. It's worth exploring in more detail, which we'll get to, but the prominent point is that two powerhouse Cortex X1 CPUs should give the Google Tensor SoC more grunt for single threads, but the older Cortex A76 cores may make the chip a weaker multitasker. It's an interesting combination that harkens back to Samsung's ill-fated Mongo CPU setups. However, there are big questions to be answered about this design's power and thermal efficiency. On paper, the Google Tensor processor and the Pixel 6 series look to be very competitive with the Exynos 2100 and Snapdragon 888 found through some of 2021's best smartphones. Understanding the Google Tensor CPU design. Let's jump into the big question on every tech enthusiast's lips. It's true. Why would Google pick 2018's ARM Cortex A76 CPU for a cutting-edge SoC? The answer lies in an area of power and thermal compromise. I've dug up a slide from a previous ARM announcement that helps visualize the important arguments. Granted, the chart scale isn't particularly accurate, but the takeaway is that the Cortex A76 is both smaller and lower power than the newer Cortex A77 and A78, giving the same clock speed and manufacturing process. This example is on 7 nanometer, but Samsung has been working with ARM on a 5 nanometer Cortex A76 for some time. If you want numbers, the Cortex A77 is 17% larger than the A76, while the A78 is just 5% smaller than the A77. Similarly, ARM only managed to bring power consumption down by 4% between the 77 and 78, leaving the A76 as the smaller, lower power choice. And here's the important part, I think. The trade-off is that the Cortex A76 provides a lot less peak performance. Combing back to ARM's numbers, the company managed a 20% micro-architectural gain between the A77 and A76, and a further 7% on a like-for-like process with the move to A78. As a result, multi-threaded tasks may run slower on the Pixel 6 than its Snapdragon 888 rivals, although that, of course, depends a lot on the exact workload. In other words, nobody knows. With two Cortex S1 cores for the heavy lifting, Google may feel confident that its chip has the right mix of peak power and efficiency. Well, I guess we'll find out. So, yeah. Okay, here we go. This is the crucial point. The choice of the older Cortex A76s is inextricably bound to Google's desire for two high-performance Cortex X1 CPU cores. There's only so much area, power, and heat that can be expended on a mobile processor CPU design, and two Cortex S1s push against these boundaries. Opting for smaller, lower power cores frees up the chip's silicon, energy, and thermal budget for these bigger components. Alternatively, it could be said that choosing two Cortex S1 CPU cores forces Google to adopt two smaller, lower power mid-tier cores. So there's the crux of that. But why would Google want two Cortex X1s when Qualcomm and Samsung are happy performing very well with just one? Besides the raw single-threaded performance boost, the core is 23% faster than the A78. The Cortex X1 is an ML workhorse. Machine learning, as we know, is a big part of Google's design goals for this custom silicon. The Cortex X1 provides 2 times the machine learning number crunching capabilities of the Cortex A78 through the use of a larger cache and double the SIMD floating point instruction bandwidth. In other words, Google is trading down some general multi-core performance in exchange for 2 Cortex X1s that augment its TPU machine learning capabilities, particularly in instances when it might not be worth spinning up the dedicated machine learning accelerator, although we don't yet know how much cache Google intends to pair with its CPU cores, which will make a difference to their performance too. 2 powerhouse Cortex X1 cores is a departure from Qualcomm's successful formula that comes with its own pros and cons. Despite the use of Cortex A76 cores, there's still potentially a trade-off with power and heat. Testing suggests that a single Cortex X1 core is quite power hungry and can have trouble sustaining peak frequencies in today's flagship phones. Some phones even avoid running tasks on the X1 to improve power consumption. 2 cores on board double the heat and power problem. So we should be cautious with suggestions that the Pixel 6 will blow past the competition simply because it has 2 powerhouse cores. Sustained performance and energy consumption will be the key. Remember, Samsung's Exynos chipsets powered by its heavy-hitting Mongoose cores suffered due to this very problem. So it sounds to me like they're using the A76s specifically because they know how much the X1 is going to heat up and drag and demand power. So it sounds like they're trying for some kind of balance. That's what it sounds like to me. Anyway, I'm not going to continue the whole thing because I think it can get kind of boring for people. Anyway, I just thought that was an interesting article. So let me stop screen and see. Yeah, Ted's in here. Glad you're here, Ted. I wish you were here for real. Google is doing something interesting. Hope it pans out. Oh, he's currently shooting a gig. Okay, can't blame me if you're working. All right, he's making money. Anyway, glad you dropped in, Ted. Yes, and I agree. Google is doing something interesting. Just hope it works out. You know, it sounds like it's somewhat of a crapshoot. So we'll see what happens. So, Brian says performance will be okay. I hope you're right, Brian, because right now I'm leaning towards getting the Pixel 6 Pro. Yeah, tensors and some older cores, that's true. It won't be as fast as the Snapdragon 888. But I'm sure real world performance will be okay. Let's hope so. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, interesting stuff. And obviously Google's willing to take a gamble. But like the last article said, I think since they're producing a real flagship phone, I guess at real flagship money, I hope they're going to take the time to market it. Because if they market it, I think they could have a success on their hands. Just my opinion. So let me take a quick sip. Will saying hello. I'm glad you're here, but you could always click on the link and come on in here. And if you have the time, I understand. Just a suggestion. Okay. So we're going to stick with Android. I'm going to share this one. Okay. This is from Android Central again, and this was written by Alex Doby, who's pretty knowledgeable. From the editor's desk, is Android 12 still too buggy? So let me go into review. Okay. Wait, is it really a surprise to find pre-release versions of Android aren't quite perfect yet? This past week, Samsung surprised many of us by dropping its first One UI 4 beta based on Android 12, which kind of surprised everybody, well ahead of the stable code drop from Google. At the time of writing, we're not expecting Pixel phones to get stable Android 12 until early October. As such, the early version available to Galaxy S21 owners right now is, well, kind of a mess. Performance issues and bugs aplenty reveal that the current One UI 4 build is further away from stable status than previous Samsung betas, which on the whole have been relatively stable. So if you want to try Android 12 on Samsung's best Android phones, you might want to hold off for a more reliable build. That's because I'm only trying 12 on my Pixel 4a, and 2 releases back on the beta, it really was buggy and hard to deal with. And then they went, I think it was to 4, and it got a lot better for me. So right now I'm not having much trouble on my Pixel 4a, but since I got the Flip, and I'm also using the 5a, I haven't turned the Pixel 4a on much in the past 2 weeks. So, of course, Alex Doby can probably find more bugs than I can. The same pattern is apparent on the Android 12 public beta for Pixel phones. Fairly serious bugs remain right up to the current beta 5 build, which is what I'm on also. And even that version still has obvious user-facing issues like the broken at-a-glance widget and Bluetooth performance bugs. Previously, betas 3 and 4 featured broken visuals around the Google search bar in the app drawer, becoming a running joke among Android watchers. Yeah, for me, beta 3 was pretty bad. Beta 4 fixed a bunch of stuff for me, and beta 5, as far as I know, I'm not having any problems with. It's a far cry from Android 11 and Android 10, which were basically daily driver ready around the time of their July betas in previous years. And by the time we got to August, beta program builds were basically release ready, with the eventual over-the-air updates to stabilize, usually weighing in at just a few megabytes. Android 12 isn't like most Android updates, though. On Pixel phones, it brings the most significant UI overhaul since the introduction of Material Design in 2014. And that makes perfect sense. If you're going to do so much overhauling, you're probably going to have a lot more bugs. And believe me, programming, when you have the bigger the changes, the harder the programming gets. So I understand that. Material U touches every part of the interface on a Pixel phone, and Google has to update its apps to fit with the new design language. Google is monkeying with the system UI much more than, for example, it did while jumping from Android 9 to Android 10 in 2019. So it stands to reason that more user-facing changes will result in more user-facing bugs, and that's perfectly obvious and perfectly true for any programmer. That said, the beta program has already lasted longer than any recent Android version, and Google has played fast and loose with the definitions of the most recent preview build. And that's true. This has lasted a long time for beta. Beta 5 is supposed to be a release candidate, which in software development means it's ready to ship, save for some final testing. Yet this build also comes with a known issues section in its release notes, along with the aforementioned UI bugs, which is not something you'd expect to see in a release candidate. That's true. Given that Android 12 on Pixel phones still has stability issues, perhaps we shouldn't be surprised that early builds of One UI based upon it are similarly imperfect. No, we shouldn't. And Anshul Sag, senior analyst at More Insights and Strategy, told Android Central we shouldn't read between the lines too much. I think it's fine if they drop the betas early. Maybe it will help them figure out bugs sooner and not have to fix them at launch. And maybe that's true. Maybe they're dropping them early just so we can all find these bugs. So maybe that's why they're not as smooth as it has been in the past years. Sag said, I think that lots of people's expectations for betas are sometimes too high, and we need to remember that they exist to help work out bugs. That's particularly true for Android enthusiasts. We often treat the beta program as a convenient way to get to play with new Android features ahead of the masses without remembering why those features aren't generally available yet. There's an ever-present trade-off between access to cool new stuff early and potential side effects on day-to-day usability, especially if you're installing beta software on your primary or only device. I hope people aren't doing that. Rumors of an Android 12.1 coming soon in the wake of regular old Android 12 aren't too much of a surprise either, considering the trajectory of this version of Android. So that's saying they're expecting to release Android 12 next month and right away have to fix it with 12.1. We'll see if that comes out. Point versions of Android generally mean a new API level from Google, the code targeted by developers when they're making apps. Giving Android 12's fairly lengthy development cycle, it's not shocking to find some changes originally planned for version 12 not making the cut. Nevertheless, if an Android 12.1 does emerge later this year, this would be the first time since 2017 that Google pushed out a point release of the OS. Back then, Android 8.1 Oreo supplemented the significant changes in 8.0. That's true, I remember that. Adding APIs for neural networking, wallpaper colors, and shared memory, all relatively minor updates. While the current Android 12 betas may be far from perfect, that's precisely why they're betas. Google still has a few more weeks to give the new version a final coat of polish. And when it does that, that'll be time to pass the final judgment on Android 12. So if we've only got a few weeks left, I'll bet you there's a ton of work and a ton of overtime going on trying to get this stuff ready, because there's a lot of changes in 12, especially on the pixels. So stop screen. Let's see. Oh, Renz is here. Glad to see you here, brother. Just always glad you're here. And let's see, he's saying hi to Brian and Ted and Will. And he's saying, this is why I wait for the public release of the OS. And that's very understandable, Renz, especially if you're only using it on one phone, because I wouldn't put a beta release if I only was using one phone. So he says soon after release, we'll get an update. So yes, he's expecting a 12.1. So, and that may be true since there's so many changes. So interesting. And anything Alex Dobie writes, I pretty much respect, because he knows what he's talking about. So moving on. Yes, I'm sticking with the Pixel 6. I hope you're not sick of it. I'm going to share the screen. Okay. And this was on 9 to 5 Google. And this came out 3 days ago. Google Pixel 6 specs Tensor chip, 120 hertz display, 4x zoom, under display fingerprint. And let's switch to reader mode. Okay. Seemingly to outdo itself from 2 years ago, Google today announced the Pixel 6 and Pixel 6 Pro in an early teaser well ahead of the formal launch later this year. While Google is keeping some specifics close to its chest, we're getting a pretty good idea of what the Pixel 6 specs will bring to the table. To kick things off, let's talk about the biggest thing these phones have in common. Under the hood, they're both using the Google Tensor chipset that was formerly known as Whitechapel. The chip is designed by Google and is rumored to be produced by Samsung. Google is not offering up much as far as performance metrics right now, but there are some hints. Speaking to The Verge, Rick Osterloh said that the CPU and GPU in Tensor should be market leading. He further points to the chip's improvements that are specific to Google's own phone, saying, the standard stuff people look at will be very competitive, and the AI stuff will be totally differentiated. In a description on the Google store, the company further teases, it's the brand new chip designed by Google, custom made for Pixel. It helps make Pixel 6 and Pixel 6 Pro the fastest, smartest, and most secure Pixel phones yet. Google will be releasing 2 phones, Pixel 6 and 6 Pro, starting with the smaller model. This device will offer a 6.4-inch display. That panel will be 1080p in resolution, offer a 90 hertz refresh rate, and have a perfectly flat panel of glass on top. There will also be an under-display fingerprint sensor. As far as the hardware goes, the phone will have metal rails that are coated in a matte texture similar to the Pixel 4 series. The phone will also have 3 colorways that include red sand, blue green, and gray black. And you can see those here. Color names have not been announced. Rick Osterloh also confirmed that the battery life target is all day. So here's some specs right here. Basically what he just told us. When it comes to the camera situation, Google's smaller Pixel 6 will have just 2 rear cameras, which, okay, right there, a standard wide lens and an ultra wide. Well, that means zoom will not be ideal. The 50 megapixel sensor may appear according to the latest Android 12 beta. Pixel 6 Pro specs. Pro, meanwhile, supercharges a couple of key areas. Starting with the display, the panel is larger at 6.7 inches. It also carries a faster 120 hertz refresh rate, a higher resolution, and has curved glass along the top. The curve is described as very slight into the aluminum rails. Let's see the picture. I guess that's it. No, that's the other one. Oh, here it is. So that's the Pro, I guess. What am I saying? Okay. The hardware is metal rails along the side polished instead of a matte texture, and the colorways are also more subdued. This includes gray black, sand yellow, and gray light gray. Color names again. Now, some more concrete rumors in recent weeks have also seemingly confirmed a 5,000 milliamp battery, charging speeds of 33 watts over USB-C cable. The cameras also seem to become as a 50 megapixel primary sensor, 12 megapixel ultra wide, and 48 megapixel telephoto. It's likely that 12 megapixel sensor is shared with the Pixel 6. So here's the specs there. There's your colors right there. I guess it's more rounded. See that? Yeah, it is a little bit more rounded. Okay. The Pixel 6 Pro will add a camera compared to the smaller device with a 4 times telephoto lens. We don't know the resolution of that sensor, but we do know the main camera will be a 50 megapixel sensor. What else do we know about Pixel 6? Beyond these confirmed specs, Google has mentioned some other details about the Pixel 6, and rumors have also hinted at further details. For one, it's rumored that the Pixel 6 will start at 128 gigabytes of storage while offering 256. Meanwhile, the Pro model will have 256 and 512 gigabyte tiers. That's good. The same rumor claims battery sizes around 4,600 and 5,000 milliamps respectively. A recent report also confirmed the phone is being built in China, and it seemed that Google will not be using a modem from Qualcomm, as well as based on the evidence we found. There are also rumors that the phone will support charging speeds up to 33 watts, but no charging brick will be included. Gee, what a surprise. Recently, too, a retail leak seemingly proves that the Pixel 6 series will support faster wireless charging speeds, where previous Pixels topped out at around 10 watts. That's true. The Pixel 6 could hit up to 23 watts on a new Pixel stand wireless charger, so you're probably going to have to buy the stand to get that, is my guess. This would make Google's phone one of the fastest for wireless charging, as Samsung tops out around 15 watts and the iPhone at a mere 7.5 watts. A release date is still unknown, but at this point, an October launch seems more likely, as that is usually Google's pattern. Currently, the company is telling suppliers to prepare for the highest demand the Pixel line has ever seen. Well, I hope they're right about that. So we shall see. Let me stop screen. Let's see what's going on in the comments here. So Ren's saying, I just love the battery life of my 4A 5G. Yeah, and I'm loving the battery life of my 4A just fine. I just hope the Tensor chip won't be power hungry. I hope, well, but they're saying one day, so if it really is 5,000, that's pretty easy. I would think that's pretty easy. Let's see. He says there's also a delay when having an in-display sensor compared to a physical one. Well, yeah, but to me, in-display sensors have gotten, the good ones have gotten pretty good, and I don't notice too much of a delay. Now, the Z Flip 3, the side fingerprint sensor, this is dependable and the best one I've used on the side fingerprint, but it's really, really good. See, Gboy888, waiting for a regular size Pixel Pro model. Hopefully they have one for the Pixel 7 or at least a non-extra large size option for the 6A. I hope you get it. He still prefers rear-mounted pinky. I think most people do, but I'm very surprised at how good the side fingerprint on the Flip 3 is. And let's see. I agree with Gboy88. I wish Google would make a Pro Pixel, but the smaller footprint, that would be a great sell for people having small hands. Hold on. I'm adding to stream. So I'm guessing we have Will's voice and nothing else because I'm not getting a
What's
picture.
going on, George?
Okay, glad to have you here, brother.
What's going on?
Nothing much. So have you been following the stories?
Yeah, I've been listening.
Okay. So are we tempting you with a pixel?
Nah,
Just that laugh said to me, yeah, there's got to be a little something
nah,
there.
I'm not even a little bit, George. Not even a
Now,
little.
keep in mind, I said all along I would not be getting one, and I'd be sticking with the A's like I always do, like I have the fiber. Right now, I am leaning the other way. So if you ask me absolutely today, I'd say I'm probably going to get the Pixel 6
Oh
Pro.
yeah,
So
you have to. You
we all
gotta get it.
change.
You
No,
gotta
I've
get
never
it.
got. I've never gotten a regular one before ever.
Oh wow, you never had a Pixel 2, 3,
No,
4?
no. I
Wow.
had the 3A, 4A, and now 5A.
Yeah, I've
So if
had
I
them
get it,
all
I
except
know
for
you
all
have.
the A's. Yeah.
That's why. So that's why you can't afford to. How can you not get this one? I mean, this is going to be the pixel of pixels,
That's
wouldn't you
what they
think?
say, though. I don't know. I don't know if I believe Google.
All right. So you've had. Wait. First of all, are you going to let us see you? You're just not going to let us see
Nah,
you.
I'm at work.
Oh, you still at work? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's my new schedule now. 7 to
Okay.
7.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm especially glad you're here. Yeah. See, Brian says Will in the house. Okay. White Snake 991. Good evening. I'm drinking a cold Coke myself. See, White Snake, we both have good taste.
Coke tastes like poison.
I love Coke.
Nah, I'll take Pepsi over Coke.
Yeah, well, you and Eleanor are Pepsi people. Eleanor and I have been arguing that for 35 years now.
Pepsi's better than Coke. The only Coke that's good is like if it's from McDonald's. McDonald's has different Coke. That's
yeah,
why.
McDonald's Cokes are pretty good. I'm not a McDonald's guy, but McDonald's Cokes are pretty good. I'll give you that. But back to the point. Now, like you just said, you've had all the pixels. So the first pixel with a tensor chip, you're going to pass on?
Because I don't know, what is the tensor chip, George? Is it just what's that chip that they took out of the phone? They might have just took that out and just put it back.
No, because they didn't have the two X1 cores, sensors, right?
I don't know. Listen, I can't keep up with what Google says anymore.
I just hope that they market this one because this is going to be, this is going to be price wise, I'm sure, right up there.
Oh yeah, it's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah, it's going to be up there with the iPhone and Samsung. So I think they got to do some marketing. And since
I don't see how they didn't make a Panda color. I don't see how you can come out with this phone and not make, you know what I mean? Not make the color.
You got a point there because everybody loved Panda so much.
Yeah, how could you not do black and white? Like,
well, I guess I'm still looking at the picture, and the gray and it kind of looks Panda-ish. It's just a little darker than the white.
Nah, that's not it.
Hey, I'm trying to give them a break, okay?
You can't cut them a break. Not for upwards of more than $1,000. They don't get no break. Especially for 256 storage, you already know that phone's going to be priced ridiculous.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And I'm thinking about, okay, which phone do I want to trade in? But Munchie may be right. I may have to trade in my Pixel 4a to get it, but I'm closer and closer to pretty sure I'm going to get. I was going to take a trip up by you guys next week or a few weeks down the road, but then I started saying, okay, hotels and rent a car and trip. Maybe I should just get the Pixel 6. Well, that's where I'm leaning now. So Jersey probably won't be seeing me for a while.
Yeah, ain't nothing going on up here.
Okay.
Pixel 6 will be better. Tell Mike to send you pictures. You didn't get an iPhone, George? I'm shocked.
No, because the Z Flip cost me money. Yes, I did trade in my.
I thought you were going to trade in your iPhone 12.
No, because I like my iPhone 12. I didn't want to get rid of it, And you know how I have been in the past. I try to keep last year's to do camera comparisons with it. But I just like my iPhone 12 Pro too much. And I just didn't see the need for me to go to the 13, you know.
So, what is your reason, George, for trying this new Pixel? What do you think Google's gonna? What do you think they're gonna bring? That's gonna make
I'm
this
excited
one?
about this Tensor chip.
Yeah.
I'm excited that they're making their own. Well, as
Isn't
usual,
it just
with
an Exynos
with
chip?
Samsung. Well,
Yeah.
I'm guessing I'm going to guess it's based on an Exynos chip.
Okay, you're giving them credit. Okay.
I'm trying. Yeah. See, there's a difference between you and me. I will always try to give Google credit. You've gotten to where you don't have to give them any credit for nothing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, you don't trust them, and I can understand that. You know.
I don't know if I can give them credit.
No, I understand. I understand.
A caterpillar
have-
got you running like that?
Listen, I was walking off, and he picked the
It was
one
a
of them fuzzy
caterpillar.
ones.
It was like a rat or something. I can see you running.
No, wait a minute.
Mine's negative.
Are you saying you have
What?
nurses
You
who
got
are
the stuff?
brave enough to walk in the room with COVID who are afraid of caterpillars?
I just had to wait for something and get another test, do another test on myself.
You know, yeah, for real.
Because they ain't there talking about Filipinos.
All right, folks, we get to see what Will's
Hey,
like
man,
at
you
work.
running
This
from
is
a
good.
caterpillar. I thought it was really something out there.
Oh, and we're continuing the beverage discussion.
They still owe me $100.
Ren says Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew's okay for me.
I gotta go down there.
Brian says Mexican Coke in a glass bottle. So that metal or plastic makes a difference, huh? Mexican. I've never had Mexican
They
Coke.
still owe you. I said, and
He
they
says
still owe you.
cartel. It's okay. And Renz is asking how the battery health on my 12. My 12 Pro battery life has been very, very good. And I'd say not just adequate. I'd say it's
I
very
gotta
good.
ask Miranda, where's mine at?
Now today at work, I was driving around by myself a lot, and I streamed a lot all day. But it lasted all day, and it got down to 30-some% before I charged it. So I'd say the battery life on the 12 Pro is really, really good.
What's her name? Don't care. What's her name? Mona. She don't care.
Tensor chip.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Will, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here, George.
Okay. Now Renz is saying Tensor chip equals Samsung Exynos 9855.
See, it's just they just Google's just acting like they built it. They ain't.
Well, obviously Renz knows something I don't know, but yeah, it sounds.
That's
to me
what I
like
heard
they're-
though. It's just Exynos chip. Watch it catch on fire.
Man, you are
slow.
hard.
Like,
You
what do
are
you think
hard.
what do you think the problem is going to be? There's always something with the pixel,
There's
the
yeah,
screen,
you're right.
the something. It's going to be. So you already know.
I'm gonna
Just
go.
by the
I'm gonna
way-
go back to the boot loop problem.
I think by the way they're talking, it's going to be slow. Like not slow, but as far as like benchmarks, it's not going to be. People are going to be disappointed because it's going to cost more than $1,000.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true.
I don't know. I think you should wait, George. Don't buy it right out the gate.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Don't
get
do
it.
it. Don't
I'm
do
gonna
it,
get it,
George. George, give it like 2 months.
I don't.
Wait for the Black Friday deal. I never waited, but you should wait. I'm serious, George. I'm telling you.
It's a
for your
thought.
own good.
It's a thought.
How often can you take the?
Now, see, now you got Ren's thinking. I hope the
What do
Pixel
you
6
want?
lineup won't catch on fire.
Yeah.
I hope
No,
not.
because it's not such a time this whole week.
Be,
No, it's not.
be negative. Just don't have it.
It's negative.
Well, just make sure you stay negative.
I got the because they instead of me getting it done on Tuesday, I got it done on Monday.
Yeah.
And then what day is today?
Today's Friday.
Renz agrees with you. He thinks I should wait also.
Yeah, just wait, George. Because if you buy it now, you already know once people get it and it's like a disappointment, the price is going to drop so fast on Swapper Google's gonna have sales because Google's
Yeah,
like, yeah, this is our most expensive one. We're gonna market it, but they've messed up for so many years that people
well, that's
don't
true.
have no
There's
faith
always
in it.
something. And
People
that's
don't have
another
no
reason
faith in
why
it
I've
now.
always bought the A's. The A's always have less problems.
Like George, look at it like this: it's still not to the point where you can go out and tell somebody like you should try a Pixel. They're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, I tried one of those."
That's
Nobody's,
true.
you know what I mean? They're
That's
not.
true.
So it's not
I
like,
have recommended the 4A and the 3A though.
but it's not like they have brand loyalty where all this marketing is gonna make people go
That's
out and buy it over an iPhone or a Samsung.
but I think if they market it right, that could happen.
Nah, because it's still Android, George. The messaging still sucks. It's still it's still Android. Still
You
got to clear
always
the
go to
cache.
messaging first.
And George, is there any watch yet? There ain't no Pixel watch, right? Don't look like there's a watch coming
No,
because
there's
they
not going to
haven't.
be a watch, but
See?
I don't think you can beat the Galaxy Watch 4 anyway, or Galaxy
Oh
Watch
no,
3.
that doesn't even sound that good. At first, I thought that was going to be good, but now it just looks like a
Oh
Samsung
no,
watch with
no,
with
no,
the
no! I
Google.
love
It
my
looks like an
Galaxy. I
Android.
love my Galaxy 3, which I gave to Eleanor,
No,
and she
I'm not
loves it.
talking. My fault, George. Not that one. I'm talking about the new Android Samsung, whatever they did. That one. I thought that was going to be a good thing for Google, but now I'm looking at it. It just looks like they put a skin on top of.
Well, yeah, but it's just rumors so far. We don't know what's in there. You know.
There's no Pixel Watch coming because they haven't
No,
leaked it. They
no,
know
I don't.
people want
No,
it,
I
so
don't
they
think.
would have
I
leaked
don't think
something
that.
about it.
No, I agree with you. I don't think the Pixel Watch is something else. It's just everybody wants one, but I don't think they're going to get it. Like Renz is saying, believe me, George, waited for the 4A 5G for a price drop here and had to watch videos and read forums about the pros and cons of the unit. Bought it like before 2 months before the 5A was announced. All right, so he waited too.
Yeah, you should
So
wait, George.
yeah, Renz is
Don't
agreeing
get
with
me
you
wrong. You know,
100%.
like I was talking to Mike like a week ago. And I was
Right.
telling him, I said, I don't know. I don't know. Google just let me down too many times, I think.
I just don't see Google coming out with ostensibly their most special pixel in like 2, 3, 4 years, and you're not getting it. I just don't see that.
Yeah, but you already know, George, I'm not the change SIM card type of person. So if I get
Yeah,
it, that means the iPhone has to go.
that's true. So
'Cause, you know, I hate.
you only have the one SIM all the time now, right?
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
Well, you could do what you've done in the past. You could get it and return it and go back to your iPhone,
Yeah,
right?
I could. Yeah, I could. But then, see,
I
then
j-
I'll be in trouble. Remember, I'm still in school. I can't tell somebody to send me the file over RCS. Send me
What do
that
they
assignment over RCS.
in
Nobody's doing
school? Do
that.
they send you files that
Oh my
huge?
gosh, George, I send Google Docs documents and all
Oh,
kinds of what's
really?
some things called yeah, PDFs right through iMessage.
Okay, okay.
If I turn into a green bubble,
So you're saying with I'm forgetting the messaging name now.
what RCS,
Oh, so yes, so
iMessage.
you're saying these things are so big, RCS couldn't deal with them?
Well, no, but nobody uses
Oh, okay.
Android.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and the only
Nobody
people who use
uses
RCS, I think, are you and me. So
it. Yeah, Mike was even complaining about it on a video he did
yeah,
because his RCS messages were just getting lost
that's what he said. Yeah, I haven't had that happen to me at all.
because they set it up like iMessage. If you don't sign out of it, your messages just keep going to RCS.
Right. So anyway, I find it hard to believe you won't at least try the phone.
And
You
then
know,
they don't even have no date, no nothing. I don't
no,
know.
we don't have a date yet. That's what
They
we're all
haven't.
waiting for.
They haven't
But
announced the event either, right?
no, but since this is the 24th, it's got to be like any day now, wouldn't you think?
Usually, isn't it like the first week in October?
I'm thinking second week. I think normally.
And then the phone doesn't go for sale until like November.
No. When I
The
ordered,
end of October, I think it usually is. Like the 20th or something.
yeah. I think you're right. I think you're right because I think Did I? No, I didn't get any of the pixels. But I think that's when it ships. I think it's
I
usually
used to
the middle of
always
the
buy
month,
them
and then
right
by
at
the
the-
end of the month, you have it. Yeah.
I used to buy them on the release date. I think the latest I got one was like November 5th or something like that.
Okay. So, you want to hang in there while I do my last story?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. This one I think is interesting, and you'll find it interesting too. Did you look at the notes at all?
No, I can't look
Okay.
at nothing.
All right. Share screen. Okay. So this one is on Engadget. Telegram has seen a sharp rise in cyber criminal activities, report says. The app is encrypted and easier to use than the dark web, according to investigators. So it looks like more criminals are jumping on Telegram.
They're gonna get rid of Telegram soon.
I doubt it. I doubt if they can. Anyway,
Oh,
cyber
George, I don't know
criminals.
if you talked about this. Hold on, I'm sorry.
Go
Did y'all talk about the Apple law, the Apple Epic thing before?
Yes.
Yeah, what'd you
Yeah.
think of that?
I did a story that, Apple's not going to let them back into the App Store until after all the litigation is done. Well,
No,
I
but
think
I'm saying,
they have that right.
What did you think of?
Of the whole story?
Like the whole, how it all played
yeah.
out.
Oh, yeah. We had 4 or 5 broadcasts talking about it. And wait, let me stop this screen. And at first, I was kind of on Epic's side. But in the end, I ended up on Apple and Google's side because my attitude became you knew what you were signing up for when you wanted to get into the Play Store. So it's too late to complain. That's how I look at it to this day.
Yeah, I just think that it doesn't make Apple look good because the developers aren't really happy with them either.
Yeah, I
And they are
understand
charging
that,
like a ridiculous amount of money though.
yes,
Jeez.
but everybody who got in there knew that same. They're charging the same as Google
And
does.
no, but see, George, but this is the thing though. Then what they tried to do was cut that deal with was it Amazon or Netflix?
Yeah, they cut a 15%
You know what I mean?
deal with
That's-
Amazon, and they
yeah,
cut a
see,
couple of
that's-
other deals too, and that's what I
not
thought was
right.
wrong. Yeah, no,
That's
I
not
agree.
right.
I agree. I do agree with that.
You can't be cutting those deals on the side and then you're charging regular poor people. You know what I mean?
But to me, since you knew what you were signing up for, it's just like the football player or the baseball player who signs a contract for 3 years and then he has a great year. Now I want a new contract. It's the
but
same
George,
thing.
no,
It's
no,
the same
no.
thing.
But wait, George, listen. But see, that's a little different because they're able to negotiate. They'll go back to
But
the
they
table and
shouldn't be
negotiate.
able to negotiate
Why
if they
not,
signed
though?
for 3 years.
Why not?
Because you gave your word. Period.
George,
Keep your
listen,
word.
George,
That's
it's different.
That's one of
George,
the problems with this
George,
country. Everybody
George,
thinks
giving
they
your-
don't have to keep their word.
George, giving your word is different. Like if you give your word in the street, you can't.
No, I'm
renegotiate.
talking about you
Listen,
signed the
listen.
contract
No,
for 3 years.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Listen,
It should
you
be
signed
worth something.
Listen, George, listen. You signed a
ahead.
contract for $1 billion sports team or whatever. So if the fact that you go out there and play and score whatever you score every night and you're making them bring in more money, you think you shouldn't be entitled to more? That's like saying you go to work right now to your job.
That's
and
like saying I come in as a rookie with great potential, knowing I have great potential, and then because I come through with that potential, now I need to be paid more. You knew the potential you had the day you signed the contract.
If you come in as a rookie and you have a terrible season, they'll cut you.
That's true.
And then you get the downside of your guarantee.
That's true, but you
if you come in as a rookie and you drive merchandise sales and all that, and the team is doing great and people are coming to the games, you should be able to go in and ask for more money. That's like saying, George, that's like saying, George,
you gave your word, you signed the thing, wait till the contract's over, and then get a new contract.
Look,
that's how I fall.
If you go to your job right now and you increase business, you don't think you deserve more money?
No.
You're different.
I am different.
You're different.
But you have to keep in mind, I have never been a money guy. I'm still not.
No, George, it's not about being a money guy. It's about
yes, it is
because it's about getting
one of
your
my
work.
closest
It's
friends
about
from
getting
up
your
north
work.
who now lives in Florida, and he's a tax consultant. And
It's
he
about getting what
always
you're worth.
got on my
That's all.
case because I would not allow him to cheat on my
George, that's
taxes.
different. Cheating on your taxes is different. When you ask for more money, the company doesn't have to say yes, but just the fact that you're asking for
Oh,
it,
I'm
then-
not disagreeing with you there. You can ask
So-
for more
so,
money.
yeah,
but
so
if
when
I'm
you
the
go back-
company, I'm going to
when
say
you-
it's a contract. You're saying, are you going to dishonor it?
yeah,
That's-
but
that-
listen,
that
no,
would be my
but-
comeback.
But George, you got to think about it. That would be dumb to be like, yeah, I'm just going to throw away this person who brought me all this extra money. Give him some more money. It's not like
but
you're
there
losing. You're a
are, but there
billion-dollar
are
company.
athletes
And
who
if you-
actually have that scenario and they just play out the contract and get a new
because
one when it's done.
they're not smart.
Or they're just people
They're
of
not
their
smart.
word as opposed to
No,
most people in this country.
No, George.
I
It's
say,
different.
I don't think
George,
I don't
there's
ever
different.
think I
George,
don't
it's
ever
different.
think
It's
breaking your
different if
word
I
is
give you,
smart.
George, if I give you my word on something like, yeah, I'm gonna do this for you, that's different. If it's
And
something
you
to do
sign a
with
contract
money,
and you sign a contract to that
it don't
effect.
matter. It doesn't
Well,
matter.
it should matter. That's what's
Nah.
wrong with this country. Everybody can lie,
That's not what's.
live up
There's
to
a
their
lot of
word,
other.
and it's
There's
fine.
a lot of other things
That's a
wrong with
lot
the
of what's
country,
wrong in this whole
George,
country.
there's a lot of other things wrong. The company.
That's
the
how.
company
That's how
doesn't-
you
The
end up.
company doesn't have to give it
That's
to
how you end
They
up
don't
with
have
with
to,
a
though.
city full
But
of
if the company-
politicians that
George,
all
it's about-
lie about everything because everybody
George,
think it's
Your
okay.
time, George, your time and your talent and all that is worth money. So if the
But you should
company's
know
getting
what that
more
money's
money,
worth the day you
can't.
sign.
You can't though. You can't because just like you said, if you come in and you're a rookie, you don't know what you're going to generate, and they're going to give you the
You
bottom
know
of
what
the
your
barrel
talent
deal.
is. You're
No,
supposed to
you
know what your
don't.
talent is.
George, you might say, yeah, I'm a good
Wait, let me
player or
thank,
whatever. I'm
thank
good.
You. Brian gave me a super chat. Thank you, Brian. As always, appreciate
You could
it,
be
brother.
like, I'm good. I'm a good talent or whatever. Yeah, you know that part, but you don't know that when you first start, you're going to increase the attendance to the game. And when that
guess
happens, you should be able to go back and be like, yeah, you know what? Since
I'm
I
not
started,
sure
you're
if
making
Brian,
three
I'm not
times
sure if
the
Brian
money
agrees
now.
with you or me. He's saying sometimes it's clear that you deserve more. And yes, so
Exactly.
I might, as
So if you
I
deserve
might, as
more,
the owner
listen,
of the team,
George,
I
wait,
might.
listen,
Let
George,
me finish,
explain to
Will.
you
I
this.
might,
Hold
I
on.
might, as the
Okay,
owner
go
of the team, say you had a great year. I'm going to give you more money. But that's up to me. It shouldn't be your demand.
No,
That's
yes,
what
it
I'm
should
saying.
be. No.
I disagree. I disagree.
see-
then to me, you're just a liar. That's all you are.
No, it's not
Yes,
about
you
being
are.
a
That's all
liar.
you are. You're the
George,
same
it's
as the
not about-
politicians in
George,
Washington.
George,
You're a
it's
guy
not
who
about-
signs something and lies about keeping your word on it.
George, that's different. This
No,
is
it's
about
not. It's
you
the same
knowing.
exact
Yes, it
thing.
is because George, they're not bringing no added value to nothing. If you bring an added value to a team or to
I'm
a
saying,
company,
as,
if you
as
go
a
to your
team
job,
owner,
George, if
I
you go
might
to
say, yeah, you
George,
deserve more money.
So-
but I'm
so
not. I'm just
what
saying
you're
you
saying
have no
is-
right to demand more money when you're still on the contract. That's all I'm
you're
saying.
not demanding it. You're negotiating, and if they don't give it to you, then
Oh,
you
no,
got to decide if you're going to
I'm
beat
not
them or
saying you
whatever.
can't
But that's
ask, and
like-
if the team agrees with you, that's fine. But then you get these guys who, well, I'm not playing if you don't give me no more money. Well, then walk. If I'm the owner,
Yeah,
go
because
ahead and walk.
but see, that's when you got to know your worth, though. If you go to job, that's crazy, George. If you go to your job right now and you increase production by 20-30%, and they're just gonna be like, yeah, we're gonna keep paying you the bottom of the barrel. You would
I
be
agree
crazy
to
for
that.
that. Just to be like, you agreed to it to get the job, and you didn't know what you were making. You
let me
didn't
ask
know
you a
what you were gonna bring to the
Let me ask
company.
you a question. Have you been in that position
What? In a position where what?
where you worked knowing you deserve more money and they didn't give it to you?
And they didn't give it to me?
Right.
No.
Okay. I
No,
have.
because George,
Wait,
look, I'll give it to you, George,
let
I'll
me
tell you like
let
this.
me finish.
Look,
I
if they call
have.
me okay,
As a
okay.
programmer in the 80s and 90s, you could get just about any amount of money you wanted. And whenever I was on a job in New York and I got to the point where I knew I should be making more money, I just went out and got another job on more money.
Yeah, but you shouldn't have to.
And
You
it
don't
was
have
very
to-
easy to do in those days.
So wait. So listen, when you were working at that job, right? You had an agreement with that company. So what did you do?
Yes.
You broke your agreement and quit.
No, I know. I quit. No, but I wasn't going to break my agreement and say, "Oh no, I'm not staying here if you don't give me more." I didn't ask anybody for any more money.
Oh, well,
But
that's your fault.
I did
That's
have
your
one
fault,
company
then.
that was smart when I
That's
worked
your fault.
my second
See,
programming
that's
job
what I'm saying.
was
You're
working on
supposed to.
TV ratings, and of course,
You're
TV
supposed
there's
to
lots
ask.
of money. Now
You're
I
supposed to
started
ask.
on the job. They gave me a $5,000 raise 6 months after I got there, and they gave me another $5,000 raise 6 months later. That was
And what
just
if they
smart on their part.
now?
I didn't
What
ask
if
for
they
it.
didn't?
I did
What
not
if
ask
they
for it
didn't?
though.
What if they didn't? You would have just sat there for that money.
No, I knew the kind of money I could make because I was working for a company.
No, but I'm saying
anybody
if
who
they-
works in TV is going to make money, and they know it.
See, but that's why you have to ask. Like to me, I'm on the side of the
have
player.
I have never asked
I would
for
always,
a raise in my
I would
life.
always go for the player because these companies make too much money. That's like when I come to work, if they're
that's where
short,
we disagree. I don't think they
listen,
make too much money, but I
yes,
don't think
they
any
do.
athlete makes too
yes,
much money
they
either.
do. George, they make way too much money if you think about
They
what they're
said the
giving
same
to
thing
the
about
player.
Michael Jordan, and I always said, no,
George,
he doesn't. He earned it.
George, when you look at the amount of money that the team makes versus what they're giving to the player, yeah, they make too much money.
No, I
They make
disagree.
way too much money.
I
They
disagree.
give them a little shred of what they're making.
I disagree. And
Oh,
how many
God.
times have I heard people say, "Oh, athletes make too much money," and I have always disagreed with that. I say whatever they can get, they deserve to get. So I will always think that. But I have never asked anybody for a raise in my entire life, ever.
Yeah, see, no, yeah. Nah, you gotta ask. You gotta get what you know. You gotta get what you can while you can get it. You might go outside tomorrow and break your leg. You can't go to work no more. Mm-mm.
Well, see, when you're a programmer, you can break your leg and stay home and work. It
You
doesn't
might break
matter
it.
much.
You might break your wrist, break your finger, whatever you
You
break. It don't matter.
You could
That's
still
like
stay home
me,
and
George.
work.
George, listen. That's like they'll call me and be like, "You want to come to work?" I'm like, "Yeah, y'all got to give me extra money. If they don't give it to me, I'm not coming."
Okay, if they call you in for overtime, that makes sense.
So listen. So even if they didn't call me and I just said I'm just gonna come in for free, you know what I mean? I'm just gonna come in for regular.
Well, I never
That's
worked
what
for
you're-
free. I didn't
But
say
George,
anybody
listen,
should
not
work for free.
No. That's what I call it. When I don't get paid extra, for me, it's free. But that's that's what I call it. So
Okay, we just look at things very differently then.
Because you're saying that the player, just because they signed it 4 or 5 years ago, they have to just ride it out.
No,
you
nobody
don't.
comes in and does a 4 or 5 year contract. 2,
Whatever
3
you
years
want to sign,
tops.
2, 3 years, it don't matter. If you sign 3 years, and then you're just like, I'm just gonna ride it out because I'm gonna honor
your
my
word will always matter. The fact that you
Nah.
sign something should always matter. Other than that, you're breaking your word.
See, I don't know. Not when it comes to that type of thing. No.
We just have different philosophies of life.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. Life's too short to be like, oh, I'm gonna be nice to this big corporation that doesn't care about me.
And see, for me, life's too short for me to make money my main thing that I go.
It doesn't have to be your. It doesn't have to be
my
your
buddy
main
always
thing,
says.
though.
Will you have no respect for money? And my answer to him was, and I never will have any respect.
It doesn't have to be.
It's too
your main,
easy for me to
It doesn't have
get.
to be your. It doesn't have to be your main thing. But if you're making money for a company, corporation, or whatever that has an unlimited amount of money, they can definitely give you some more
There's
money.
no such thing as anybody or any company in the world that has an unlimited amount of money.
George,
Nobody
it don't have
has
to
an
be. It don't have to be
amount of money.
unlimited. but
Nobody
they have,
ever will have.
Okay,
an
so
unlimited
George,
amount of money.
if they have $3 billion and they're giving you $5 million, you should go in there and ask for more money. If you're increasing what they're making, that's just.
And I'm not saying. And I
just
said
smart.
it's okay to ask, but if they say no, stick to your word. That's all.
If they say no, you're supposed to do what you got to do.
Or do what I did. Just go find another job with more money.
Yeah,
But don't say no. I'm going to sit out the season. Well, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but that's just posturing, though. You could say you're going to sit out the season to call their bluff and see what they do.
There have been people who sat out the season,
and people do it, and they're supposed to because that's smart.
I disagree.
Yeah,
to me, you're supposed to keep your word. Like I said, we just look at things differently.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Anyway, I still love you.
I couldn't. Nah, you're just you're. I guess you would have to be in their situation to understand.
And Brian is saying you could always ask for more, and I agree with that.
Yeah, but you can't just be like. Of course, they're not going to be like, yeah, can I have more money? Sure. No, you gotta be like. They're gonna be like, nah, we're not giving you more. The same thing you said. You signed your contract.
Well, some people are going to say sure. There are
okay. So when you come up against the one, when you come up against the one who says no, you got to be like, oh, okay, well, I'm not going to play, and then you wait and see what happens.
And then I'm going to take the contract and say, you signed this contract to play. Now, if you don't play, You just broke your word.
Yeah, see, no.
But I do agree. You do have the right to ask. You know,
You have the right to
But-
ask.
but-
You have
but-
the right to use any.
but there are
tactic you
some
can to
owners
get
who
more
are
money.
sensible enough to say, "This guy's made us a lot of money. Let's give him more money," and that has happened more than
And
once.
you have the right to say, I'm gonna sit out for 3 games and see if they
I
come
don't-
back to you
I
and
don't-
say it.
I don't think you have that right. I just
Yeah,
don't.
you do.
Okay, we
You
just
do.
look at it differently.
They're eating off of your backs.
Yeah, and see, Brian is kind of saying the same thing. Well, if you ask for a restructured contract and they agree, it's okay, and that's what I'm saying. That is okay, because some owners are smart
Yeah, but-
enough to realize you're making them money.
But sometimes you gotta force them to see it the way you see it. Because if you're bringing in that kind of money, they're gonna listen to you. They might be like, oh
I
no,
would
we're not
hope
gonna do
they
it.
listen to you the day you come in and say, "I'd like to have a restructured contract based on my performance." I would think any reasonable owner is going to say, "Yeah, you're right," and then you start working at a deal. To me, so we're
Yeah,
not
no,
that
no.
far apart. I just the sitting out part when you've signed the contract. That's where you lose me. You know, that to me is just like a lying politician. Same thing.
I don't know. Coach. Anyway, come on, finish the story.
All right, last story. All right, I'm going to bring it up. It was just like the old days, though, wasn't it, Will?
Yeah, for a little bit.
Okay. All right, here comes the story. All right. So Telegram has seen a sharp rise in cyber criminal activities. Cyber criminal activities have been using Telegram for years because it's encrypted and easy to access. According to a recent investigation conducted by the Financial Times and cyber intelligence group Cyberint, though there's been 100% plus rise in Telegram usage by cyber criminals recently. And Financial Times says the rise in criminal activity on the app came after users flocked to it after a change in WhatsApp privacy policy. Yeah, that's what happened with WhatsApp. If you recall, WhatsApp asked its users to accept a revised policy, allowing it to share data with its parent company, Facebook, earlier this year. Users were outraged, and I think they should have been. And WhatsApp had to clarify that it still won't be able to read their private communications. Even so, people migrated to rivals offering secure, similar messaging capabilities. For Telegram, that has apparently led to a rise in criminal activity conducted through the app. According to the investigators, there's a ballooning network of hackers sharing and selling data leaks in channels with tens of thousands of subscribers. The number of times email, pass, and combo were mentioned in the app over the past year reportedly rose fourfold. Some data dumps circulating on the app contain 300,000 to 600,000 email and password combinations for gaming and email services. Cyber criminals are also selling financial information such as credit card numbers, passport copies, and hacking tools through the app. Tal Samra, cyber threat analyst at Cyberint, explained its encrypted messaging service is increasingly popular among threat actors conducting fraudulent activity and selling stolen data, as it is more convenient to use than the dark web. In addition to being more convenient than the dark web, Telegram is also less likely to be monitored by authorities, Samra said. Telegram has removed the channel where the massive data sets with email and password combos are being sold. Good. After Financial Times notified the company. Well, good. In a statement, Telegram also said that it has a policy for removing personal data shared without consent, and that it has an ever-growing force of professional moderators removing 10,000 public communities every day. Wow, that's a lot. For violating its terms of service. Earlier this year, those moderators had to monitor hundreds of channels to keep an eye out for calls of violence following the attack on the U.S. Capitol. Okay, that makes sense. And I don't blame Telegram. I mean, it's an encrypted thing. Criminals know that. So I don't think Telegram's at fault, but I thought it's good that after the Financial Times notified them that they removed it. So I just thought it was an interesting article because, yeah, as long as it's encrypted, it's going to attract criminals, and it probably should. You know. So just interesting story. So that's the last of my stories for today. Well,
What's up, George?
You have no idea how great it was to have you on and to argue with you again.
Yeah, what else is new though? What's been going? I've been missing. I haven't been paying attention to nothing, George. I've been missing a lot.
Nothing. Well, you've seen. I
The,
guess you've
the
seen that I've
Pixel.
got my Z Flip 3. I've got my
Yeah,
Pixel
I've
5.
seen that. I mean, like with the
I'm
news, all I've heard of was like the Pixel. I know the iPhone, of course.
yeah,
I was listening to Android Central. What
right.
happened with the what was I thinking of? The Note's coming back. That's what they were saying.
That's it. I heard rumors. I didn't get to listen to Android Central. I usually listen to them tomorrow afternoon when I'm riding my bicycle. But yeah, I've been hearing rumors about that too. People are saying the Note might be coming back, but then other people are saying the S series, the Samsung, the 22, will be the Note, and the pen will be
Uh,
included in that. So I
uh,
don't think that would be too bad. What do you think?
yeah, I don't know. I guess not. It wouldn't be. I don't know though. The Note was just different.
Yeah, that's true. That's
I
true.
think
But
people who want
I
the Note want a Note. They don't want because look at the way that the S Pen. They did the S Pen with the what was
well,
that?
that's what I was going to say. If they found a way to include the S Pen as part of the phone, like they did with the Note, wouldn't that be okay? At least I would find that
Yeah, they would have to
acceptable.
do it like that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think if they did that, they were good to go. So
Yeah, but you know me, I prefer regular old boring stock anyway.
well, yeah, and that's why you shouldn't be passing on the Pixel 6 Pro.
Yeah,
I
it
just
depends.
cannot imagine you not getting this at least to try it out.
It depends because I got about 5 months, 6 months left of school. So
Okay.
if I was to do it, I would have to get rid of my iPhone. It would have to be really amazing to make me want to.
Well, then I could see then if you finished your 6 months and then got it, that would make sense. And then of course you'd have plenty to look at as far as knowing what it's like. You
And then that'll most likely with Google, that'll make me not even want to buy
know. Well, suppose
it.
it turns out to be as great as they say it is.
Yeah, yeah. When was the last time that happened with a Google thing besides the Pixel 3a?
Okay, yeah, I was going to say the A series phones, they pretty
Uh,
much live up to what they say. It's the
See,
main phones that
that's the
have the
thing. Like,
problem.
I can see Google messing up the battery on this phone. Like, there's so many things I can just
Yeah,
see
that's
them.
true. That's true. There's always something.
And
And
see,
and
that
I
would
think
be,
that's one reason why the A's are always more successful because they have that 6 month time frame or 4 month, whatever it is, to fix it in the A series.
yeah, but
You know
that
what I
would be a
mean?
terrible thing to come from the Pixel 5 battery to go to like a Pixel 4 XL battery. Oh my gosh, I couldn't even
Yeah,
imagine.
I agree. I agree. But they're saying it's supposedly a 5,000 milliamp battery, so I would think that would be okay.
I'm just thinking of the improvements they would have had to make. Like, the camera has to be a lot better. Video's got to be a lot better. They just
Well,
had to.
keep in mind, what is Google good at? Google is awfully good at AI, so that
Yeah,
could
but
mean the camera's going
everybody,
to be a lot better.
I won't even say everybody, but Apple has like caught up now. So
I don't
they
know that
really,
they've caught up. I'd say
yes,
Apple's
they
getting
have.
there. Oh,
George,
here we go. Here we go.
Apple's camera is just as good now, if not better.
Do
And
you
their
have a drink?
video,
Do you have a drink next to you? Because I'm hearing some juice.
and their video. Matter of fact, since the 11th, and their video just,
I agree. I
just
totally agree because I had the 11 and I had the 12. You know.
yeah. So I don't know. Like
And
Google
see what
lost
I'm
their.
hoping for with the Pixel 6 Pro is that the video is suddenly overwhelming. I hope.
Yeah.
If this new chip, they ought to be able to do something with video for, don't you think?
They should be able to do a whole bunch with it for $1,000 because the Pixel 5 was 700. You know what I mean? And the
Yeah, yeah,
camera was
yes.
still. This
So
should be like really amazing. They actually upgraded the sensor. So
if this comes out and the video was really good, I'll probably buy it right off the bat as soon as I find out that the video was good. Yeah. So we'll see.
yeah,
And then of course, if I'm going to trade in something and Munchie is right that they're going to be given good trade deals. Well, I don't want to blow that trade deal by waiting too long either. So if they want my Pixel 4a and they give me a really good price for it, I guess I have to give it to them because I have my 5a.
They're gonna give you about $200 for that 4A.
No, well, that's what. See, Munchie's saying he's hearing that they're going to be doing really good trading. So I hope they do really good trading.
Google's gonna lose the phone when you send it. Dude, they're
Oh,
trading. I
man.
don't think I've never traded in with Google, and I just heard horror stories.
I've traded. Let's see. I've traded in with Samsung and I've traded in with Apple. I haven't traded in with Google either. I don't think. No, I traded. No, I'm sorry. No, I traded in my 3A with Google to get my 5A, and it was fine.
Oh, you got a 5A?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know you got a 5A.
Yeah. I traded my 3A for my 5A, and I still have my 4A.
5A's battery was really good.
Yeah,
Well,
the
the
battery is
5,
very,
anyway. I don't know
very,
about
very
the
good.
5A.
No, the 5A battery is very, very, very good.
And then they're gonna have a curved screen again. Oh God.
Yeah, and curved screens are always a downside with me. But as much as I love my my OnePlus 7 Pro, I hated that curved screen. So I finally traded that in on my Z Flip.
Yeah.
And I'm with you about the curved screens. Give me flat every time.
Yeah, I prefer a flat screen.
Okay. All right, I'm getting ready to go. I am so glad you joined. Anytime you want to join, oh, there's Renz. Renz, thank you so much. Renz gave me a super chat. As always, thank you very much, sir. So I hope everybody's real happy that Will joined tonight. And Will, anytime you want to join this way, feel free.
Oh yeah, this is my new schedule now. Now I'm Friday, Saturday, Sunday, George.
Okay. But yeah, this has been good having you on. All right, and see if you can talk Mike into coming on again soon.
Yeah, I gotta talk to him.
Okay. All right, sir. You have a good weekend. I hope
All right,
everybody
George.
has a blessed weekend. And thanks, guys, for the super chats. And I'll see you next week. And maybe we'll get Will again. Who knows? We could get lucky. Have a good one, folks.
All right, George. Yeah.